rich land. Fertile imagination. Indomitable spirit. These are the Mississippi Hills, where the soft, flat land of the Mississippi Delta collides with the stony peaks of the Appalachian foothills. A collision, a convergence, sparking, kindling, unprecedented creativity, so that today our literature still lights the way. Our music still beats through the heart of the world. From dramatic theater to the theater of war, so much has happened here. So much was changed here. Here, in this one small area, hardly more than 24 counties, that Congress and the President have awarded us our own designation. So come, explore the Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area. Discover our stories, experience our culture, celebrate our heritage. In the Mississippi Hills, we've got quite the story to tell, and quite the storytellers. Nobel Prize-winning novelist William Faulkner, Pulitzer-winning playwright Tennessee Williams, and recent luminaries such as Willie Morris, Larry Brown, Barry Hanna, and John Grisham. Ours is a lyrical story filled with high notes from musical icons who began their lives in the Mississippi Hills. The First Lady of Country Music and the King of Rock and Roll.
As far as the eye can see, a press of excited youngsters from all over the region are on hand for the return of Elvis Presley to Tupelo, Mississippi, the town where he was born.
Chester A. Burnett, known and loved by millions as Howling Wolf, pioneer of the Chicago blues.
Ruby Elsie is with us again tonight to sing St. Louis Blues.
In classical music, Ruby Elsie performed the role of Serena in George Gershwin's Porgy and Bess more than 800 times. She also appeared with Bing Crosby in Birth of the Blues. Some of our best artists have stayed and played right here, like David Jr. Kimbrough and R.L. Burnside, the geniuses of Hill Country Blues. Otha Turner spent his adult life in Panola County, even as his fife and drum music gained a global audience, featured in Martin Scorsese's film Gangs of New York. There have been other drums here too, the drums of war. At the heart of every great story is conflict, and here in the Mississippi Hills, the conflict of the Civil War was epic. At Corinth, the stakes were high, the battle huge. It was the Western Hemisphere's largest ever amassing of troops. The city had been crowned the crossroads of the Confederacy for its vital rail hub. And during the period between the Battle of Shiloh and the Siege of Corinth, the massive war machine left the city ringed in trenches and earthworks. More than 30,000 were killed, wounded, or captured at Shiloh and Corinth. In 1864, Nathan Bedford Forrest routed Union troops at the Battle of Bryce's Crossroads near Baldwin. And Earl Van Dorn's early morning raid in 1862 sent Grant's supply depot in Holly Springs up in flames, torching provisions worth $1.5 million. The Confederacy's youngest lieutenant general, Stephen D. Lee, the man who made history when he led the first shot at Fort Sumter, had within him the makings of a great educator and peacemaker, skills he would later use helping the nation heal after the war. And even in the very midst of the worst carnage and destruction, there were seeds of a brighter future being sown. At the Corinth contraband camp set up by Union General Grenville M. Dodge, thousands of freedom-seeking former slaves established a flourishing community that stood briefly as a beacon of progress to come. Born to slaves in Holly Springs in 1862, Ida Wells Barnett used the power of the press to become a courageous crusader against lynching and an inspiring advocate of civil rights. And exactly 100 years after her birth, James Meredith became the first African American to enroll at the University of Mississippi, walking through college doors to open the future for all. The Hills' racial and ethnic heritage is rich and complex, dating all the way back to the earliest peoples. Once the home of both the Chickasaw and Choctaw nations, the Hills were the site of the Chickasaws' greatest victory against the French, with the tribe's triumph at the Battle of Acquia in 1736, near what is now Tupelo. The Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek, signed in 1830, ceded 11 million acres of the Choctaws' Mississippi lands in exchange for 15 million acres in the territory that is now Oklahoma. Since it was the first treaty carried into effect under the Indian Removal Act of 1830, the Choctaws were the first to travel and to suffer through the infamous Trail of Tears, followed by the Chickasaw in 1837. Thousands died of exposure, disease, and starvation. Nothing could ameliorate the tragedy of that trail, but at least in the Mississippi Hills, formerly enslaved people were making a trek toward a future previously unthinkable as new frontiers and education opened for all. In 1866, on the site where slave auctions had once been held, Shaw College was founded, later renamed Rust College. Today, Rust College is one of the nation's 5 remaining historically black colleges founded before 1867. Rust alumni include Ida B. Wells and Ruby Elsie. 1884 saw the founding of what is now Mississippi University for Women, the first state-supported college for women in the nation. Novelist Eudora Welty attended the W, as did the mothers of both Tennessee Williams and William Faulkner. Over the years, the W and Rust have launched many careers, but high flyers of all kinds have found their way into Hill's history and legend. America's premier barnstormer during the golden age of aviation, Roscoe Turner, was a household name when his sponsor, the Gilmore Oil Company, awarded him a Lion Cub outfitted with a Cub-sized parachute. Later, Congress bestowed on Turner the Distinguished Flying Cross. Before his legendary death in Vaughn, Casey Jones operated a rail engine between Jackson, Tennessee and Water Valley and was known for his distinctive train whistle. Jones was the sole fatality when his passenger train, the Cannonball Express, collided with a stalled freight train on that fateful night in 1900. The route was slower, but the hazards were ample when Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto traveled through the hills in 1540 on his way to the Mississippi River. Some 300 years later, the residents of a newly minted county chose to honor him by taking the county name of De Soto and christening the county seat Hernando. De Soto came to the New World for adventure and riches. Today in the Mississippi Hills, riches and adventure still await in vivid history and vibrant culture. Along these verdant hills and in scenic, historic communities, already with a warm welcome, our heritage is your treasure for the taking.